Hello, Kimberly. I'm eating a handful of pretzels while I was waiting. Better put this bag of pretzels up. Oh. It was another 103 day here in Texas today. It's 95 degrees right now at 8 o'clock. So it's still hot. I just took my garbage out to the street because tomorrow's my trash pickup day. See if I can get the live chat up here. Well, hello, Kimberly from the hills of Kentucky. I hope you're staying warm. I mean, staying cool, not warm. No danger you getting cold right now. Not if you're anywhere close to Texas, because it's been in the triple digits every day. It's like I got 14 watching. We are hot, but got a breeze. Well, we didn't get enough breeze this morning. I tuckered out. I mean, I got out there with the compost tea and was trying to water part of the garden on that side. I barely got it done, and I had to come in the house. Already at 10 minutes after 8, it was so hot I couldn't stand it out there. I mean, I was totally wet with sweat. And I haven't been back out there. I've been busy in the house. I've been working on a video, and I haven't finished it yet. I'll finish it after the live's over. Because I baked something, and it's got to cool off before I can do anything else to it. You got a lot of Texas weather? Yeah. I think a lot of the country's gotten Texas weather here lately. They say it's been unusually hot in every state compared to what it usually is. But they say when it's unusually hot in the summer, that means you're going to have a really mild winter. But now I'm not putting that in writing. I'm not counting on it, but I hope it's true. We don't need a real cold, freezing, back-breaking winter, that's for sure. I don't want one. But it's definitely too hot outside to do anything right now. Oh no, you got a busted kitchen faucet? Mine wasn't busted, but it kept dripping. And they wanted $300 to put a new faucet on. They said it couldn't be fixed. And I fixed it for $12. I did a video on it. I don't know if you saw it. But yeah, it needed the stem down in the handle, the little knob where you turn it off and on. So I took it apart, took the old stem out, took it to Home Depot, and one of the guys that works there walks up to me, and I held that stem up and I said, I need one of these. He said, sure, they're right over there. I said, you mean you got it? And he said, yeah. I said, well, everybody that I got in the house to try to fix this faucet told me it couldn't be fixed. It was an old faucet and they couldn't buy parts anymore. He said, we sell those faucets every day. They're standard, and the stem that goes inside them that you need is standard. So I bought it for $12 and something, brought it home, put it in myself, and it's worked fine ever since. Now, I don't know what will happen if anything worse than that happens. I might I might be able to get it fixed, but it might cost me more. Well, have you gotten anybody out to look at your faucet to tell you how much it's going to cost to fix it? I mean, it seems they want to charge you $300 just to come out and look at a faucet. Oh, your brother is coming. Thank God he's a plumber. I did watch your video, and he wanted to change out your pipes. I'm sure that's what those other guys were going to do. They told me that the faucet couldn't be fixed, but it could. They wanted to come in and take all my copper pipes out and replace it with their pipes, and then charge me for all of that work, plus putting a new faucet in, when $12, a little over $12 is fixed the faucet. Now, I may have to do something more elaborate next time, but right then, hey, $12 was the key. And there's Eli. Good evening to you, Eli. Yeah, they all want to change out my pipes because they want the copper. I've noticed that. They'll pull out every pipe they can pull out, take it with them, and then they replace it with plastic. PVC or whatever they call it. Which, that's okay if I needed the pipe, but if you don't need it, why take it out and replace it and then charge people for it? I know, so they can make $1. I've had them replace the drain line from the tank because they wanted the copper. And they put those short pipes on from the bottom of the tank to going out, hooked to the other pipe with a turn-off valve on it, which that was fine because I needed that turn-off, turn-on valve. So if something went wrong with the commode, I could turn the water off, replace the tank or replace the insides of it or whatever I needed to do, and then turn it back on, which I didn't have that before. So there's good and bad in all of it. Yeah, I wanted to go live last night, but I just I didn't get done in time, and then it was about 8 o'clock or so. I was so tired. I said, man, if I go live at this point, I'm gonna yawn through the whole live, and I didn't want to do that. I have been working on a video, but I'm not sleepy tired right now and feel pretty good. My faucet is probably 30 years old, and I think I got my brother out of it. My house was built in 1975. Well, this place was built in 1969. So that tells you how old my pipes are. But most of them have been fine. I've replaced one or two here long. But I still got a lot of copper left. And I don't see any need in changing it till I have a problem with it. And there's Shatika. Blessings to you as well, Shatika. This was a 1969 New Moon mobile home. And back in 1969, the New Moon brand was top of the line. You couldn't get a better mobile home than New Moon. It was the best going. That was about like buying, what do they call them? Oh, I can't think of it now. The silver ones, the all aluminum, Airstream, I guess what it was, Airstreams. The New Moon was right up there with them. I mean, this was the best mobile home you could buy. So it was built really good. And that's probably why it's lasted as long as it has. Plus, I've done all the maintenance and upkeep on it as it needed it. I didn't let it just run down. I've got the original ceiling. There's no watermarks, no nothing in the ceiling. Of course, I did paint it years ago because I tried to whiten it up a little bit. You know how it goes, it turns a little yellow. But I don't have any water damage or anything else in my ceiling. My roof doesn't leak. And when it did, I got it fixed really quick. I didn't put it off. And it makes a difference when you do that. When you go ahead and get repairs done right away before they charge, they cause a lot of other damage. Because a roofy leak, if you don't fix it right away, it sets off a chain reaction and it will destroy your house. But I always got mine fixed lickety-split. Part of the time, when I knew where the leak was, I'd get up on the roof and I patched it up myself. That saved me a lot of money, and it saved me a lot of headache in the long run. Just like every year or so, I tried to get up there and coat it with that weather sealant that helps protect your roof from leaking. It protects it from the sun and all that. And I'd just take an old mop up there with that 5-gallon bucket. Of course, I couldn't take a 5-gallon bucket up there. It was too heavy. But I'd dip it out and put it in a smaller bucket, take it up on the roof, dip that mop in it, and I'd literally mop the roof of the house with it. I coated it from one end to the other. Oh, Kimberly said, my house is my childhood home. I was raised in it and I raised my children in it, 3-bedroom brick. Well, I always wanted my mom and dad's house. My dad built it. It was 11 bedrooms, 2 baths, dining room, breakfast room, living room, kitchen, 6 bedrooms and 2 baths. And I always wanted that when my parents were gone, but my dad died, and then my mom sold the house. At the time, she was asking so much for it, I couldn't buy it. There was no way I could pay for it. I couldn't make the payments on it. She ended up selling it for a lot less, and I didn't even know it. Now, if she'd have sold it for what she sold it to me for what she sold it to the other people when she sold it to them, I might would have tried to buy it. But the first price, there was no way. That was double. So I didn't get my parents' home. And my brothers, they ended up with brick homes. My one brother that just lost his wife a year or so ago, he's got his brick home up for sale. He sold his karate building and closed his business. He inherited his mom's parents' farm and all their property. And he's moved a house in up there. He's put in a double-wide manufactured home, a 2-story one, up on the property that he inherited from his wife's parents. So that's where he's going to be living. The last I heard, he was showing pictures of the house on Facebook, but they hadn't completely finished the inside and done everything to it. So he had not moved in yet. But oh my God, he's got like a 2 or 3 acre yard. I said, I'd hate to know I had to mow that. That's a big yard. But he's got a riding lawnmower, so it's not like getting out there pushing the mower. But still, even on a riding lawnmower, it's going to take you a while to get that much mowed. Yeah, I thought I'd end up with a brick home, but I never did. I've ended up with a beach house, which was really nice, but it was a wood frame house. When we lived in North Carolina at Oak Island on the beach. And then we moved to Texas. I was promised a house here, and we ended up renting this place when we first got here. Then I ended up divorced and never got my house. And then I ended up buying this place because I couldn't afford to buy anywhere else. So that's how I'm here and still here. Your daddy charged you $1 for his house. Well, I thought if mom knew, I thought if my mom knew I wanted the house, that she'd give me a break on it to move in the house and have her live with me and help take care of her when she couldn't do for herself. But she wasn't thinking of that. She wanted the money. She wanted to build a smaller house. And I give her the plans for the smaller house. I had drew several sets of plans myself for houses that I was thinking about building for myself. And I had not decided on one set of plans yet. And she was here one summer on vacation, and she got to talking about building a small house. And I said, well, the plans alone cost a lot of money. But I told her, I said, I've got plans for a house that I drew up myself that you could build a house with. So I showed her the plans, and I showed her that it was a 2-bedroom, living room, dining area, kitchen, and the hallway was big enough to put a laundry room in it going out toward the back door. And I told her if she wanted those plans, if she thought she would use them, that she could have them. I just gave them to her. So I saved her a lot of money, by giving her those plans. And then she didn't even tell my brother where they came from. He said, well, I know Mom came home that summer and she had plans to build a house that somebody drew up, but she didn't say who. I said, I did. I said, I drew those plans and I gave them to her. And I've got another 2 set here at the house that I've never used because I never was able to build a house. And now the cost for a house that you build is so much more and outrageous. I said, I just give up. These houses they're building around me are like $250,000 homes. And that's not the big expensive ones, but that's more than I could pay for a month. Is it buffering? It's not buffering here on my end, so I don't know. Yeah, well, she ended up, my brother built most of the house for her by my plans. And then they practically lived with her. They were borrowing her car all the time. And finally she promised them that she'd leave the house to them. So I guess they got her car, they got the house, everything she had when she passed away. And even stuff that she left to me, written in black and white that was to go to me, disappeared from the house. I don't know what happened to it. Who got it, where it went, nothing else, but it was gone. But that's neither here nor there. That happened a long time ago. I'm not worried about any of it. They got the house. I hope they're happy with it. Whoever got the stuff I was supposed to get, I hope they're happy with it. My conscience is clear. I didn't take anything I wasn't supposed to have. Didn't even get what I was supposed to have, so. Yeah, but that's the way some families are. If they get to the house before you do, they just walk out with whatever they want. And like I said, I don't know who did what, where any of it went. I don't know. I don't care. I forgot about it a long time ago. And I think my daughter-in-law kind of said the same thing happened to her with her and her brother, so. But it wasn't her parents that had passed away. I think it was some other family member that had left stuff to them or something. I don't know. But I never cared about material stuff. I got a lot of stuff in this house, but as it was bought and put here, it didn't cost that much. And it wasn't a big deal to me. It still isn't. A lot of stuff I keep in this house because it's sentimental. A lot of it is stuff that family may have given to me or, that type of thing. So I don't have the heart just to get rid of it. I said one day I might have to. If I can't move through my house, I'll have to get rid of something, won't I? Hi, Frida. And Tamara Douglas is in the house. How's Tamara today? Yeah, well, my mom had a will. And whatever she had a will was at the attorney's office. Now, whatever she said in his office was law. Whatever stocks, bonds, and certificates she had when she died was divided out just like she told that attorney she wanted done. Other stuff she made my brother the executor of and gave him a list of stuff and who got what. Well, I didn't get anything on that list. It disappeared. It just got up and walked out of the house one day when I wasn't there, or before I got there. I don't know. But like I said, it doesn't matter. It's material things, and it doesn't matter. I love my parents. They love me. They're in my heart still. And I've got a clear conscience where my parents are concerned or any of my family is concerned. So that's all. Unfortunately, other family members can't say that, so they will live by the consequences, I guess, because good Lord knows He sees it all. Well, with my mom, her will was left with an attorney. It was registered in an attorney's office. She listed everything she had that was really worth money. Or there's, like I said, the certificates that she had, bonds she bought many, many years ago that had matured over the years. She put in her will who was to get what. And he went exactly by that, so... And the other stuff was just small, basically immaterial things. So it didn't matter that much. I just figured if they wanted it that bad, more power to them. Maybe they'll give it a good home. I don't know. I know my mom did give me her china cabinet, which she used as a doll cabinet. She had a bunch of china dolls that she collected over the years. And she had that china doll, that china closet full of china dolls. I have no idea what they might be worth. Never thought about it. But at the time, I couldn't bring it to Texas. If I brought it here, my house is too small to put it in here. I don't have anywhere to put a big china cabinet. So my brother's got it. I told him just to keep it at his house if he wanted. He's got it at his entryway. And he said when his little girls were smaller, they would go there and look at those dolls and want to know, could they hold those dolls? And they told them no, that those were Aunt Linda's dolls, that Grandma left those to Aunt Linda. But they're still there, and, I don't have anywhere to put them, so what would be the point of me bringing them out here? I can't afford to rent a storage building to put them in. And you would need something that was climate controlled to put something like that in, or it would be ruined. This Texas heat ruins anything you put in your garden shed. Unless it's a piece of wood. Now that may survive this Texas heat. Or a piece of metal. But it's so big, I don't have anywhere I can put it in this house. I kept thinking, well, maybe one day I'll have a bigger house, a nicer home. I'll have room that I can bring that cabinet here with the dolls in it, but never have, probably never will be able to. But like I said, I don't worry about it. I'm not worrying over the little things, Mine's not buffering on my end. I'm watching it on my laptop. I'm not signed in and it's not buffering there. My camera's not buffering. So I don't know, maybe it's just where you're at, Kimberly. Is the video buffering for anybody else that's watching? I got 40 people watching. Yeah, as far as I know, Terry, everybody's doing good. I think Kimberly said she had a busted faucet, but her brother was coming tomorrow to fix it for her. He's a plumber, so he should be able to take care of it. Tamara said yes, off and on. Well, I don't know what to do about that. I mean, it's not buffering at all on my laptop here. The camera's not buffering, so I don't know. Little buddy wants to, Lucky wants to go out. He's scratching the door. Oh. Move your tail. He says the sun's gone down. It's cool enough now he can go outside. He won't roast laying on the table out there. And there's Ken. Hi. Pippintine. Hello. Pippintine, did your marigolds ever bloom? I saw the video and saw the marigold plant. The marigold plant looked pretty healthy. But I know MT said that his marigold plant never bloomed, or it hadn't bloomed at that time. But it should bloom. I've never had one that I didn't have bloom for me. Oh, and you know what? I checked my water bill. Oh, they did need to update the video. I figured it would. That marigold plant looked too healthy not to bloom. But on that water bill that I got, I told you was $102, that it almost doubled, from the water usage. Because your flat rate is $59 and some odd cents every month, whether you use water or not. And then they put taxes on that. They put service fee on it, some other kind of thing on it. Then the charge for the actual water you used went up to $22. Where mine is usually like $12. So my first reaction to the bill was, well, I guess the rates went up, or some of the charges went up. So I went ahead and got the old bill, compared it to the new one. Every charge on it was the same. The only difference was how much water I used, jumped up to 22 something. So I called the water company. I said, this is the most my bill has ever been. And I said, I first thought the rate went up, or some cost went up on it. But I said, then when I compared my bills, none of the charges went up except how much water I used. And I said, I don't understand that. I'm not using any more water than I usually use in the summer, because I conserve on every bit of water I can conserve on. I mean, I just got through emptying that canner, and I poured the water in a bucket and took it outside and watered plants with it. The same way I do with my dishwater. I wash dishes in a dish pan. I empty the dish pan in a bucket, and then I can take it outside and water my plants. And I do that every time I wash dishes, or try to. So, and I said, I even have a line run out to my garden from my washing machine. I said, I keep my raised beds and other stuff watered with the washing machine water. And I said, I don't wash clothes any more than I did. I said, it's just me here living here. So, I don't wash a load of clothes every day. I wash maybe a load of towels every week. I wash a load of clothes every week, and a load of towels. And that's usually it. And if I don't have too many clothes at that particular time, I'll throw my sheets right in with my clothes. Because the only thing dirty about my clothes is they get sweat put in them from it being so hot. And that usually just washes out with regular detergent that's safe for the environment. I have a neat house, Ken says. Linda Martin's in the house. And Terry said, I'm just sitting out here with Mr. Fickle. That's Maxine's cat. So they were supposed to send somebody out here to check the water meter to see if there was water passing through the meter when it wasn't supposed to. Because she said, if that's happening, that means you got a leak somewhere. I said, I've checked everywhere. I have not found a leak anywhere. And I said, usually if there's a leak in a pipe outside, a broken pipe, I know it because the ground is wet, or I got a water spout popping up out of the ground. One time I had the line busted between the water meter and the house. I went out my back door one day and I heard something, and I turned and looked in the back, and there was about a 30-foot water spout going straight up where the pipe had busted. That's how much pressure was behind that water. So I said, I don't really think there could be one of the pipes broken without me knowing it. But I said, I guess it's possible. So she said he'd be here yesterday or today by 5. I don't know if he came or not. If he did, I was doing something on YouTube, or I was watching a movie, because I didn't even know he was out there. She said he'd check it and then send me an email. But he's going to have to let me know he's here when he checks it. It looks to me like. How does he know I'm not running water in the house? And that'll show water coming through the meter. So he's got to know that the water is turned off on everything in the house before he checks the meter. So it looks to me like he's got to let me know he's here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb. I had a leak in the water meter one time. Unfortunately, the leak was right after the meter registered it. So I had to pay that outrageous water bill that year because it was on my side of the meter. If it had been on their side where it was leaking before it come through the register, then the water company would have been liable for it. But since it came through the meter and was leaking on my side right at the water meter, I had to pay for that extra water that come through. Well, I said, that don't seem right somehow, because, you know, it was your property, your pipes, your meter that was leaking, and it's leaking on my side, so I had to pay for the water, but they still had to do the repairs to it and fix it. Didn't cost me anything for them to fix it. But I had an outrageous water bill that month. That was several years ago. I said, well, I hope it don't ever happen again. And I said, if it does, hopefully it'll be on your side of the water meter, not mine. And there's Joshua. Hello, Joshua. Kathy said, hello, we're in the country and on a well, but finally got community water. Well needs work, so just in time. Oh, wow. Well, where I live, they're trying to put water in outside the city limit. I think they've got it now inside the city limit. But they haven't run the lines out to where my property is yet. But years ago, they sent out letters to all the property owners and asked them if they wanted to go ahead and pay for their water meters, then they could, and get them at a fraction of the cost that it was going to cost later when the lines were actually put in. Well, I was making decent money then. I was still working on a public job. So I went ahead and paid for mine. Even though they've never run the lines up there. The water meter's paid for. So if they ever get lines up to the property, the meter's paid for. But I don't know how many of you know it, but, a couple of years ago, I had part of my property back there cleared off. I was thinking about building a house and moving back there. And my cousin's husband is the one that brought his bulldozer and worker up there to bulldoze it. And he told me, he said, we almost lost that dozer several times. He said, it's so wet and muddy and low there. He said it would take so much dirt fill to fill up that section. He said, I don't know if you'd want to pay it all. And he said, then it may not hurt to, to put a tank or anything in. I said, well, that's kind of what they told me when they sold the water meter to me. They said, if you have the water meter, you're going on city water, it's not going to matter. They'll go ahead and put your septic in. I mean, you still got to get dirt fill put in, and that costs quite a bit. I don't know what it would cost now. Don't even know what it would cost back then by the load, but even that's probably gone up in cost. You got 64 tonight watching. Do what? 63 is what I see up here. I see now you meant 64 watching. It dropped to 62 just then. But yeah, the water company told me, he said that since you're going to be on city water eventually, or the pub, their company water, that they'll go ahead and pass it to go ahead and put sewage in, or whatever you need, as long as it's dirt fill. You put dirt fill in there. I told my brother one time I was about ready to go off grid, do everything solar, and put in a composting toilet or something. One of those incinerator toilets. Then you don't have to worry about a septic system or anything like that. You love potato soup, but you've never made it? Joshua said, I ate potato soup last night, Donna, and tonight earlier. I bet it was good, Joshua. I love potato soup. But I grew up eating potato soup made without having milk put in it, and I never knew why till I was older. I was allergic to whole milk. So my mom never put milk in the potato soup. Once in a while she may have put skim milk in it, low fat milk, but most people put heavy cream and stuff like that in potato soup, and if you did put that in it, I can't eat it. I mean, it would taste real good, but I couldn't eat it. I'd be sick. Good evening, Rhonda. You can't. They've restricted you against that back there now. You can't put up an outhouse. Even though my property's out in the country, it's not in the city limits. You can't put up outhouses anymore. I remember when I was little, when we first moved from North Carolina to Atkinson, and my dad was still building the house. It wasn't finished. We had an outhouse because we didn't have the bathroom hooked up. I mean, we could take a shower, no, we couldn't even do that, because I remember now when we first moved there, I was like 7 or 8, and I remember taking a bath in one of those aluminum tubs, wash tubs, the big ones. They were big enough for a small child to get in and take a bath in, and that's what I took my bath in. And then, of course, later on, Daddy, as he finished the house, he finished up the bathroom and put the tub in and all that, and the commode, and it was hooked to a regular septic system. So we didn't need the outhouse anymore. But yeah, I remember the days of having to run to the outhouse in the rain or the cold. I tell you, you didn't want to have to run to the outhouse when it was freezing cold and it was raining. You didn't waste any time getting there. You didn't waste any time when you were there, and you didn't waste any time running back to the house. I bet there's more than that came from Donna. Tell them it's a she shed. Well, I checked the rules and regulations, and unless they've changed them in the last couple of years, there's no law there against having a composting toilet. I'd rather have the incinerator toilet, because then you didn't even have to mess with the human compost, which I don't want to have to mess with. You got to let it compost for at least a year before you can use it as garden compost. But a lot of people do. You know, they build a compost pile, they fill it to a certain point, and then they leave it there for a year before they touch it. And then they'll rotate around their compost piles. They'll use the one that's been there the longest, or the year at least. They say after it's composted for a year, it's perfectly safe to use in any garden or anywhere. I've never dealt with the human compost though. I've got a compost pile in the yard, but that's just for like table scraps, leaves, broken down wood, cardboard, stuff like that I throw in there. Terry said they're never in the right place. In the winter, they're 100 foot too far, but in the summer, they're 100 foot too close. Yeah, you got that right. Of course, ours never gave us a problem. I mean, I don't know exactly how far it was from the house, but you didn't smell anything from it. I mean, that wasn't a problem. Even in the heat of the summer, you didn't ever smell the outhouse. I guess it was dug deep enough and it was probably full of water back there to begin with. So, I mean, you really didn't smell it. I wonder what your voice sounds like to me, Donna, if I heard it in your house, but I'm not there. I have no idea. Yeah, I haven't checked into it. I don't know how much an incinerator toilet would cost, but I know there's a lot of people that live off grid that have those. Some of them start out with composting toilets. They get tired of it. They don't want to have to empty them, so they do put in regular septic systems, or they put in the incinerator commode. But I said, how neat would an incinerator toilet be? But I've never used one, so I don't know what all that entails. Tell us about your kids and where they are now. Hope I'm not bringing up something I shouldn't. Well, my son lives in Hillsboro with his wife, Regina. My granddaughter and his first wife, Stephanie, live in Crescent. I have one grandchild, and that's Alexandra, my granddaughter. And she's working all the time. I never get to see her hardly. I'm lucky if I get to see her once a year, if we can get together at my son's house for Christmas or something. And this year she didn't make it to his house, so I didn't get to see her this year. I chat with her online sometimes and send her stuff, you know. I know she's okay. And her other grandparents live there in Crescent, in that vicinity. My daughter, she lives, and her husband live in Vista Ranch. That's just outside Fort Worth, west of Fort Worth. And it's a ritzy neighborhood. I think all the homes up there are like $500,000 and up. Probably the cheapest one is about a $500,000 home. And I haven't seen her in several years. They treated them outhouses with lime in those composting toilets. I could not do that. I know my dad threw lime or something down in it occasionally. He did the same with our septic tank, because it had a lid on it that he could raise, and I remember him throwing handfuls of lime in there. Because the ground is different there than here. Here I'm up on a hill with rocks and sand, and it drains really well and really fast. There it's like swampland, it's lowland, it's always wet, always moist. You never really have to water anything unless it gets an extremely dry spell, which doesn't usually happen. So when you have septic tanks underground, they will stay with a lot of water in them. So when you use that tank very much, it's not going to drain out all of it. The drain fields are going to be standing in wet dirt, basically. I mean, they will drain, but well, that's one thing about it. I always felt so close with my kids. I did everything for my kids. I practically lived for my kids. I stayed in Texas here for my kids and myself. And then all of a sudden, when they got older, years went by, now it's almost like they're estranged. I do still get to see my son and his wife. Not very often. Not like it was when he was married to his first wife, and I'd go to Joshua, which was an hour's drive away, to see my granddaughter and him and Stephanie once in a while. Sometimes I could get over there at least once a month, or sometimes twice a month, because I felt like, they're the only family I had here. My son and his wife and daughter were my family. My daughter and her husband, that was my family. I had no other family here but them. And now with my son's job and the fact that he lives almost an hour and a half away from me, I don't get to see him that often. I do text message him quite a bit. But I never really hear from my daughter. Ekunina from Central Oregon. Hello, good evening, welcome. I had to stop and think about that name. I said, now I learned how to say that the other night, and I've already forgot how to pronounce it. Ekunina. And 4 travelers here. Yeah, my daughter's up in not North Richland Hills. That's where she lived before. They sold that place. She remarried. And her new husband built a house up in Vista Ranch, just outside of Saginaw and Fort Worth. And I guess it's on the west side of Fort Worth. And there's Uncle BB. Your Uncle BB said my dad once climbed into our septic tank. Why would anybody want to climb in a septic tank? Oh goodness, I wouldn't want to do that. You couldn't climb in the one that was at our house. It was too full of water and sewage. You wouldn't want to climb in it. You didn't want to accidentally fall in it either. Kimberly says, my youngest son lives with me. I have an older son and daughter that are here in the county, and 30 minutes away I have 4 grandchildren. Oh, well, bless you. I've only got the 1 grandchild. I wish I had more, but my daughter never wanted to have children, so. And I don't know why, but my son, after my granddaughter was born, he was tickled to death, and he said, Mom, that's where it's at right there. He'd point to the floor where Alexander was sitting in the floor playing, and he'd say, Mom, that's what it's about right there. I said, I know, Chad. And then a few years later, when she was up, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 or 6, he decided he didn't want any more kids. He didn't want any more children. My first daughter-in-law would have had 2 or 3 more if he would have agreed, but he didn't want any more children for some reason. I don't know. And it wasn't my business to get into their business, so I stayed out. You forget the reason it was over 50 years ago, shortly after we got sewers. Well, it was probably empty, maybe, I don't know. Maybe the lines were stopped up if he crawled in it. Yeah, Joshua shares his name with an important man in the Bible. Even watering my plants one day a week and putting compost tea on them another day of the week. My plants are burning up. I mean, the sun is literally frying my plants. And I walked out there today and I checked my eggplants, and that's what those Asian beetles were just devouring. There were still a few on there after I sprayed them with pepper oil or pepper spray. So I went out there and dusted every eggplant that I've got and some of the tomato plants with 7 Dust. I went out there today and looked. The dust is there. Guess what? There is not one of those Asian beetles left. If they kept eating, they died. If they took a bite and didn't like it, they went somewhere else because they're not on my plants. I hope it killed all of them, because there was a couple that had laid babies, and there was little bitty, tiny bitty beetles. I mean, they were so tiny they looked like a speck of dirt. But if you looked real close, you could tell it was a baby beetle. I said, oh my God, they lay thousands of these boogers. I don't want them in my garden. And this is the first year I've ever had these things in my garden. I've never had these Japanese or Asian beetles before. Tamara said, my grown daughter and son are my whole life. Even though our visits are scarce, they are busy with their careers. I still cherish every minute with them, and we are together, birthdays, holidays. Yeah, that's what I tried to do. I tried to get together with with my kids on birthdays, any of the holidays like Easter, Christmas. Now, New Year's, usually I stayed home because I don't want to be out on the road on New Year's night. I want to be home or close to home. I don't want to be out there where there's people driving and drinking. But it's getting to the place where I don't even see them on all the holidays. Christmas, maybe. Easter, maybe. My son's birthday, maybe. It's not a given anymore. My roses have not liked the heat this year. They don't have many. Well, yeah, even my knockout roses, they quit blooming through this triple heat weather. But as soon as the temperature drops a little bit, they'll start blooming again like crazy. But at least they withstand the heat and the drought. And, it doesn't really kill them if they get a little bit of water. I know they're evil looking is what they are. I looked at them real close. I said, man, I took a picture of them with the camera and then I enlarged it. Those things look evil. They don't look like a little ladybug. I mean, they're similar to a ladybug. They don't have the spots that a ladybug has. And then they have like a M on their head, and a ladybug doesn't have that. But then they got these clawed feet, and it seems like they got horns or something sticking out. They just look evil. And they will devour your garden if you don't treat it and get rid of them. When I did research on them, it said that call an exterminator. I said, well, I can't afford hiring an exterminator. I've got spray myself. I can get out there and spray my garden. And I put stuff on them I knew would kill the plant. But I said, if that doesn't get rid of them, I'll keep getting stronger insecticide And I might kill the plant that I spray, but at least I'll kill the bugs and they won't get on anything else. And maybe they won't come back later. But so far the plants are still living. It's the bugs that are gone for right now. Your son's been watering your bushes and giving them fertilizer? Well, sometimes I'll put compost tea to my rose bushes when it's real hot. But a lot of times I don't put fertilizer on them when it's real hot weather. I might throw a little bit of water on them, but usually I don't water my rose bushes unless it's a new transplant. Maybe one that I put out just that first summer. Now I'll water that for a while. But then by next year, I shouldn't have to water even that one. Because rose bushes put down pretty deep roots. And those roots will find water somewhere. If they have to go to another tree or another bush to get it, they'll go somewhere to find water. Oh, I was looking at, I've dropped down to 54 people watching. Our perimeter fence came down in 4 places due to heavy winds. Haven't gardened since. Livestock plus varmints and bugs are getting too expensive to handle. Oh, wow. You can't do your fence repairs? That's probably like everything else, though. They cost so much to get it done that a lot of people can't afford to do it. Unless you can do it yourself. And you know, back in the day, that's what farmers did, ranchers. They went out and put their own fences up and did all their fence repair themselves. I had one of my subscribers a long time ago ask me, how in the world do you think of so much to say in your lives? I said, I really don't. I'm fed off of the chat. You know, I read people's chat and then I take things from there. The people that are in my live chat give me the information that I talk about. Yeah, I figured I'd go ahead and do the live because by the time the live is over, I'll be able to go ahead and finish my video. I had to let the item I'm videoing cool down completely before I could do anything else. So I'll finish the live I'll finish that video whenever the live is over, and that should be perfectly cool. Yes, I did turn my oven on. I'm glad you're in my world. Well, I'm glad you're in mine, Donna. I don't want to touch those things. They look evil. And they say those Japanese or Asian beetles will bite. That they will bite you. I haven't had one to bite me yet that I know of. But I don't want to be handling them. I'll spray them or I'll take something and knock them off of the leaf. And 7 dust is not going to hurt the plant. The only thing is, if you water the plant and wet the leaf, or if it rains, it's going to wash it off and you'll have to reapply it maybe later. I'm hoping that by the time we get any rain out here and the 7 dust is washed off, maybe it's killed all the beetles and they won't be around, so I don't have to reapply the dust or the pepper spray. Yeah, I kind of miss Dennis's and the Anthony's too. They were kind of the life of the party, and we got that in Uncle BB now. I get tickled at him, and MT he's right there with him. They can keep us entertained when they want to. But unfortunately, you know, we don't control things that happen in the world. And I don't know whatever happened to Dennis. Well, no, the Dennis you're talking about, he did pass away. I was thinking of Todd. What's his first name? Oh, I can't remember. The one that lived in San Antonio. Yeah, but sometimes some of this beetle spray or some of this insecticide you buy is not good for your garden. It's not good to put on your vegetables. And the 7 Dust is made for vegetables because it it will get rid of the bugs, but it won't get rid of you, put it that way. And the pepper spray is not going to hurt the plants, but it'll keep the bugs away. I ended up putting 2 gallons of pepper spray, hot pepper spray, in that garden. And I've got another gallon of it in the refrigerator. I put it in there so it didn't go sour or anything, in case I had to reapply more pepper spray. And to me, like about a pound of jalapeno peppers is $1.32, and I think I bought 80 cents worth of peppers and made 2 gallons of hot pepper spray with it. And that's what I finished spraying the garden with. And I don't have to worry about it being poison. If I eat it, I can eat it. It's not going to kill me. But usually it washes off in the first rain, or if you spray your plants, the whole plant with a hose, it will wash it off. I tried just to water the pot and not the whole plant. Yeah, pretty good crowd this evening. I had some of my collaborators that were sending me merchandise to do videos on. They wanted to hook into my TikTok, and they were going to help me advertise there to where I get paid on it there too. But they were so disappointed, and I was too, because I didn't realize you had to have a certain amount of followers on TikTok to be able to get paid for your videos. Just like YouTube, you got to have so much on there before you can be monetized on TikTok. And they say I don't have enough. I don't have enough on Facebook either. And one reason for that is I always tried to keep Facebook down to a minimum, because that's how I stayed in touch with my family. My brother in Tucson, when he lived in New York, then he moved to Tucson, I kept up with him on Facebook. My other family in North Carolina, I keep up with them all on Facebook. And I said, if I've got too many on Facebook, then I'll never see their posts, because there'll be so many posts coming through that I'll never get to see their stuff. So I tried to keep it down to a minimum, and in doing so, I knocked myself out of being monetized on Facebook. I can go live right now on Facebook, but I don't get paid for any of it. You got to have so many followers, or so many members, or so many of it, to just like YouTube, to get monetized. Peppin' time. I just say pippin' time. It's probably not pronounced correctly. And there's Linda 3853 says, hi, y'all, pull up my cucumbers today. They burnt up, and I did plant some more. Maybe I'll get some more before. Yeah, my cucumber vines were growing great, They were producing tons of flowers. They even had little bitty inch long cucumbers. And then I'd go out there the next day and look for the little cucumbers and they were gone. I guess those beetles just ate the little baby cucumbers off the vine. Because how else would the cucumber just disappear? Usually if it doesn't mature, it'll kind of turn yellow and dry up, but it's still there. These were not even on the vine. They were gone. So I have not gotten any cucumbers this summer. Excuse me, y'all. Oh, my allergies. Peacemaker just came in. Said, good evening. I was watching one of your videos, then saw you were live. No, not rabbits, because they were up on that trellis that I had leaning against the shed. The rabbits couldn't have got up there. The squirrels could have, but I've not seen any squirrels out in my garden. They've got so many acorns and birdseed around here to keep them busy. They usually stay pretty much out of my garden. But I mean, they could have. Squirrels can go pretty much anywhere. Yeah, I didn't get the first cucumber. Years ago when I planted them in the ground, I had so many that were coming out my ears. I had so many big zucchini, squash. But it was so hard to keep it watered in the ground. But this year, it went from flooding rain into triple-digit weather. Just a complete opposite. And it, the rain didn't drown in my garden. The sun, the triple digits, and the dryness is burning up. My tomato plants, my beefsteaks, they all started producing like crazy. They got full of green tomatoes, and then that triple digit hit, and it just stunted their growth. I've still got some green tomatoes on the beefsteak plants, but they were the ones that basically started out in the beginning and haven't ripened yet. I get one or two ripe like every other day or so. So I don't know. My garden has been very disappointing to me this year. I haven't been able to get jalapeno plants out there. My bell peppers, the bugs ate them up. And I've still got more to transplant, but I'm almost afraid to, because every one I put out, they eat. They eat them up. And there's Kim Wilder. So it's been a very trying summer with my garden. Yeah, that's what's happening to mine. And then my plant dies. I've got one, I don't know right offhand if it's a zucchini or a squash, yellow squash plant that's still alive. All the rest of them died. I've got two of the scalloped white squash that I recently planted that are growing like crazy on this side of the house under where the trees are. But this heat's, it's testing them. It really is. But they're growing, they're blooming. I don't know if I'm going to get any scallop squash on them, but I'm hoping. I haven't gotten anything out of my garden this year so far like I did last year and the year before. It's just been this really weird weather. Candy Cane says, I'm finally getting red tomatoes. Well, good. I told you would. Kim Wilder's in the house. How's it going on your neck of the woods, Kim? Have you had that first BLT yet, Candy? Well, I've got some thornless cactus already started in pots out here. I said I'm liable to replace a lot of my rock gardens with just cactus. I think I can handle the thornless cactus. I had a bunch of other cactus in my yard, and it had beautiful flowers on it. But it had thorns, and you couldn't get in there and keep it cleaned out looking nice because you'd get thorns all in you. You know, I'd get my legs and feet full of thorns. So I finally dug all them up myself and got them moved. I said they were taking over my yard. I mean, I liked them, but you couldn't keep them cleaned out to where they looked nice, so I wasn't going to let them stay there. So I claimed my yard, the corner of my yard. Yeah, but you know, that's the way gardening is. It's kind of the luck of the draw. You can plant it, take care of it, and it's up to the weather to do the rest. If you get this crazy rain, flooding rain like we did for so long, and then when it stopped raining, it turned into triple-digit drought, it just does a number on your garden. Linda said, I started out with some nice-sized tomatoes in June, but now they are all plant and no tomatoes. Yeah, they'll slow down. They won't produce in this heat. But as soon as the temperature starts dropping back a little bit, those tomato plants will start producing all over again. That's the reason I will not pull my plants out. Because new ones are not going to not grow right now if you plant them. And if you pull them out, you're not going to have any tomatoes when the temperature cools off for your fall garden. Yeah, your tomato plants will put you out a whole new crop of tomatoes for the fall garden. I had so many tomatoes last year and bell pepper, I didn't know what to do with all of them. Her name reminds you of Christmas, Candy Cane. Yeah, they look pretty bad. They look like they're going to die, but just water them, keep them watered every once in a while. And they'll pay off for you as soon as that temperature drops a little. I guarantee you, this triple-digit weather disappears, those tomatoes will start growing again, and they'll start producing like crazy. Eggplant will, bell pepper will, any of the peppers will. And I leave mine because if you try to start a new set of tomatoes from seed, they're not going to survive this heat. So unless you have a climate-controlled house to put them in, it's not worth your time to mess with them, because it'll take them so long to get to maturity that you're not going to get tomatoes out of them before you freeze. So I leave my tomatoes right where they're at. I keep them watered just like I always do. And they pay off when the temperature cools off. The pepper plants will too. And my poor strawberry plants are struggling, even though I've got them in a shaded spot. You know, I got shade cloth over them. I went out there several days and some of the leaves are turning yellow around the edges like that they're burning up. But I try to keep them watered twice a week. You know, one day with the water from the city, the other day, like on Wednesday or Thursday or along in there with the compost tea. So, that's all you can do. And my onions started growing and bulbing up, and then the triple digit hit. And a lot of them are not looking good. They're small. They're onions, they're bulbing up, but they're small bulbs. Because it's drying up the moisture from the soil faster than I can keep them watered. And you can't keep them watered too much because then the onion itself will rot. It's just this heat. But like I said, that's just the chance a farmer takes. That's just the chance anybody takes that grows a garden, a backyard garden. It might grow and produce fantastic one summer, and then it just might piddle out the next year. Or the weather, if it's crazy like it's been this summer, it affects your garden and it'll start producing, stop. You'll lose some plants, maybe not all of them. But you never know. So you just have to keep going and hope for the best. Well, you can plant onions and garlic now. I don't have any space to plant garlic. I've got tons of onions. I've got Egyptian walking onions. I've got red onions. I've got white onions. I've got yellow onions growing. I planted some seed of scallions the other day. I don't know if they'll come up or not, but the seed's in the pot. But my onions so far, the ones I've pulled out, are so tiny. But oh my God, they're 10 times stronger than a big onion. They will take your breath to cut them open. So a little bit of that little onion goes a long way. You can start a lot of things now, like the winter squash. You could even try watermelon if it was the small, individual, tiny watermelon, the crimson watermelon, because it doesn't take quite as long for those plants to mature and produce a watermelon and for it to ripen. Now, I wouldn't plant the big ones because they will not have enough time the plants to grow and mature and produce a watermelon that will get ripe before we have our first frost. But any of those winter squashes, you can replant zucchini, yellow squash, but I'd try starting them indoors or out of the heat somewhere. And then when they're big enough to transplant, it should be cool enough that you could put them out in the garden. My problem is it's just so dry and hot here, and with the water restrictions, I can't keep my garden watered properly. My poor plants are water starved. They're moisture starved. Well, I can't wear swimmer goggles when I'm doing a video cutting up an onion. People, I should do that one day. Wear a pair of goggles or safety glasses so the vapors from the onion when I cut it can't get in my eyes, and stand there and cut up my onion. You reckon people get a kick out of that if they watch the video with me wearing goggles cutting up onions? I think that'd be kind of funny. Every time Maxine cuts up an onion, her deodorant quits working. Well, I'll tell you what, when I cut an onion, it sure opens my sinuses. I get a runny nose. My eyes are burning so bad I can't hold them open. They do a number on me. Maybe I might try that. That little red onion I cut up the other day, even though I put it in that little chopper with the pull cord on it, it did a great job. But the minute I took that top off, it took my breath. It was so strong. The vapors coming out of that little cutter. And I just took a breath and oh my God, that's all I needed. It like to kill me. I said, the next time I chop an onion in that little chopper, when I take the lid off, I'm going to hold it way away from me and take it off. Let it air out a little bit before I bring it closer. And there's Joanne Seals, Joan Seals. Welcome to our live chat, Joan. Well, I tell you what, if I paid $100, would use my water, it don't seem fair to me. I know, I mean, I'm here by myself, and even on the website, the water site, it shows that I'm at the top of the pyramid for using the least amount of water of anybody. And then it shows the bar down below me, which is like 3 times what I use. The one below that is like 4 times what I use. The one below that is like 5 times the water that I use. And then we got the restriction to where I can't even keep my garden alive. Because the rules are, you can't water but 1 day a week. And with me, I can only water with a handheld hose, water hose, or a 5-gallon bucket. I can't even carry a 5-gallon bucket full of water. I use a little 2-gallon bucket. You know, on the day that I water with my compost tea. But I don't know. I don't think I run that much water. I don't, because I've had a garden for, what, 3 or 4 years now. I started my garden when I first started my YouTube channel, and I've been going on 4 years with YouTube. And my water bill never really gets close to $100. The highest it got is like $90, which I can expect because I am watering extra water sometimes in the garden. But the way the restrictions are, you can't water every day. You can only water that 1 day a week. And that's all I've been doing, plus the compost tea containers that I've been doing those over the years, the same way. I've been watering the garden with dishwater. I've been watering with washing machine water. I've done everything I know to do to conserve on water usage. And like I said, when I do my totes and my buckets, I make a drain hole a couple of inches from the bottom to where you got a water reservoir in the bottom. So you don't lose a lot of water, and it retains water to keep the soil moist longer, to last hopefully from one watering to the other. So I don't know where the extra water's going. I really don't. I mean, I've always known I've had a leak before because I could always tell where it was at. The ground is wet, or I got a water spout, or I've got a pipe leaking and I can hear it fizzing and hitting the side of the house if it was underneath. I don't hear any of that. I don't see any of that. So I don't know. I did have that hose leaking a little bit, you know, before I replaced it, but that was on the last water bill, not this water bill. And it did increase it just a tiny bit, but not much. But you saw what I did. I got that replaced as quick as I could. So there was not a drop of water coming out of that wasn't supposed to, or that I didn't want coming out of it. Oh, they can fill their swimming pools up. the initial fill on their watering day, and then if they need to add water, top off the pool, they can do that on their watering day. So you know, people with swimming pools and having to top off their pool once a week use a lot more water than I do, especially when they got bigger families than I've got living in their house, taking showers, all that laundry being done, all the dishes and stuff being washed. No, he went out a few minutes ago. He's been in all day, and he was asleep at the door. But when he realized the sun was down outside, I went out and took my garbage can to the street and then came back in, and he came back in with me. He realized it was the time of day that it was cooler out, so he scratched on the door a little bit, letting me know he wanted to go out. So I let him out. He's probably just outside the door on the table. He doesn't usually go far when I put him out. But he likes being out when he can. But when it's 100 degrees out there, he don't want no part of being out there. It's too hot for even him. I had bought a little kid pool a year or so ago, and I was going to give it to my son's wife's daughter's husband's two little boys. But where they lived, their backyard was like on a decline or something. It was not level, and they didn't have a back deck. So she said not to give it to them because they wouldn't be able to use it. So I've still got it. I thought one time about putting it in the yard, and instead of a fire pit, having a water fountain, just fill it up with, and keep the little bit of chemicals in it that's supposed to go in it, and put me a big water fountain right in the middle of it. That would look pretty. And have rocks up around the sides of it, so it looked like a big rock water fountain. I still may do that. I don't know. I like having my fire pit, though. Sometimes I really need it. We'll see. I said it'd be nice to have the swimming pool out there, keep my chemicals in it so it'll stay clean. That way I could get in it if I wanted to, cool off, and still have a little water fountain in the middle of it, spraying water up in the middle. If I could figure out how to get one in there. What time is it here? It is, oh, I can't see. It is almost 9:30. It's 9:27. I guess I've been on here for about an hour and a half. I should let people go and let them get to bed. I don't know how many late owls are in here that like to stay up late. I think 8 o'clock is too late for Jana because she does work the next morning. So she may go to bed earlier than we stay up for 8 o'clock live. 68 people. Well, that's good. I need them watching. I need 10 times that many people watching. And over 12,000 subscribers. I wonder where they're at. Why are they not watching? I know all of them ain't going to watch at one time, but hey, I should have at least 1,000 in there right now. Maybe my lives are not their thing. I don't know. But some people say they don't like to come in the lives, but they do like to watch the videos. And they watch the replay of the live, even though they don't come into the live chat. Yep, Central Standard Time, even in Kentucky. Kim said she's having dinner watching me. What are you having for dinner, Kim? Yeah, I realize that. There's some people that like a later live because they're done with their job during the day. They're home. They're done with their dinner most of the time. They kick back. It's time for them to relax, and they have time to actually sit there and watch a live or and be in a live chat. Tuna sandwich and tomato soup. That sounds good. I made a egg salad sandwich for my breakfast this morning. I've got enough in there to make another one for tomorrow morning. Tamara Douglas says, yeah, I'm a night owl. Well, I used to go to bed a lot earlier, but since I've been retired and since I've been doing YouTube especially, I find so much to do with getting my videos together, getting them uploaded, and then watching a few videos on YouTube. Till a lot of times it's 1 and 2 o'clock before I ever think about going to bed. And then I might wake up at 7 in the morning. And I still want to sleep because I'm not ready to get up after staying up to 1 or 2 in the morning and then waking up at 7. That's only about 5 hours sleep. I want to get my full 8 hours in. So a lot of times I'll stay in bed and sleep right on to 8 or 9. Sometimes it's 9:30 before I get up. And I said, that's all right. I'm retired. I might be a few minutes late from my video posting, but that's okay. I ate my leftover cream potatoes with fried liver gravy for dinner tonight. I was doing a video and I didn't want to cook dinner, and I didn't want another egg salad sandwich for dinner. I didn't want to fry bacon to make a BLT, even though I got the tomatoes. And I should go ahead and eat those few tomatoes before they get too ripe. I grew up eating a peanut butter sandwich with tomato soup. And my mom, she'd give us, or gave me, I may have asked for it, I don't know, or she may have asked me what kind of sandwich I wanted. I probably told her peanut butter, I don't know. But I remember eating my peanut butter sandwich and my tomato soup, and I loved it. I said, when you're retired, you don't punch a time clock, you're not on a public job. You've earned the right to stay up till you want to go to bed. You've earned the right to sleep in the morning until you want to get up. I mean, if you can't do that, who can? I mean, that's the way I look at it. If I want to sleep till 12 noon in the morning, that's my right. I'm entitled to do that. That's nobody's business but mine. Well, that's the outlook I've got on the situation anyway. 74 people. Well, whoa. I got them coming in from everywhere tonight, huh? That's good. And 8 o'clock may be a little bit late for, oh, what's his name? I can almost see his name in chat and I can't think of how to say it. The one that's from like Arabia or somewhere, and he's Palestine, and he just had his little son, Caleb. Because when I have a 7 o'clock live, a lot of times he would pop in and he'd say he's just getting up, getting ready to go to work. Because it's early morning for him. His day is just starting. So by now he's probably at work. My mind won't shut down, so I'm up all hours. Then I finally get tired and sleep late. That's what I do. If I go to bed and I don't feel really sleepy and tired when I go to bed, the minute I hit that pillow, I'm like wide awake. And I just toss and turn. And sometimes I'll toss and turn for an hour, then I'll get up, turn the TV on, or come watch a video until I get sleepy and tired, go to bed, and then I'll go right to sleep. But I may have gotten my clock mixed up. Maybe I've stayed up so late, so many nights, that my body clock has come adjusted to stay up to 1 or 2 before I go to bed, and then to sleep to 9 before I get up. And that's the way my body wants to keep doing. But there has been a time or two when it hit 10 o'clock, I was just so tired and sleepy, I gave up. I just shut down the computer. I went to bed and went to sleep. Felt great when I got up the next morning and woke up early, fairly early. Well, I have chronic pain and I hurt all night, so I sleep till 11 a.m. I think it's deserved being Oh, yes, Kimberly. You deserve to sleep whenever you want to sleep. And the way it is with me, there's so many nights that I don't sleep at all. I'm up all night. And then I feel like junk the next day. You know how it is when you toss and turn all night and you can't sleep. You get up the next day and there's things you want to do and you just don't feel like doing it. All you want to do is just lay your head down and go to sleep. But you can't. I've been through so many days and nights like that. It's unreal. And I trudge through the next day and just hope that I'll be tired enough when I go to bed that next night that I'll go to sleep. And usually I am. But there's been rare occasions that I stayed up 3 and 4 nights straight before. No sleep at all, day or night, for 4 nights. You talk about addle-brained. I was addle-brained after that. It's a wonder I could even remember my own name. No, my body doesn't. And back home, it's more humid than it is here. We don't have humidity here compared to what North Carolina has. I mean, I never noticed it was that bad because I was used to it. I lived there. But after coming to Texas and going back home and then stepping out the front door on a real humid day, it felt like mist in the air. It was so thick with humidity. It was like so thick you could barely breathe almost. And I never noticed that before. I mean, it's amazing what you get used to and you don't pay attention to. I know it makes you miserable to be awake that long. And when you finally get to sleep one night, you just want to sleep all the next day too. You don't want to get up. You just want to keep sleeping. You want to make up for the 4 nights and days you didn't get any sleep. But your body won't let you do that. And a lot of times my mind won't let me do it. It says, well, I got to get up. I got to get some stuff done. Just hopefully I'll sleep tonight. No sleeping late here. My husband is up before the rooster even crows and everyone gets up, Candy Cane says. Well, I've been back during those days at one time in my life when I had to get my husband up to get him ready for work. I had to get my kids up to get them on get them ready to go to school. And they refused. They would not want to ride the bus out here. So I had to drive them to school and go pick them up every day. So I didn't sleep late those days. I was up every morning to get their breakfast and get them up and out the door. But that's what I said. When you're retired and you get to be my age, you've earned the right to go to bed when you want to, sleep when you want to, sleep as late as you want to. And with my back and neck injury, I lay down off and on during the day. And it's just to relieve the pressure on my spine. Because the longer I'm up, walking and doing stuff, the more pain I'll be in. I can go lay down for 30 minutes. It relieves all that. I get up and I'm fine for a while until it happens all over again. So I've got to space out what I do during the day. Hello, Kwang Wing. Welcome to our live chat. Kentucky has a dew point that's tropical. I guess the area where I'm from in North Carolina is almost tropical. I mean, it's right along the coastline. It's swampland, basically, lowlands where, like I said, you don't usually have to water anything back home. Now, some rare occasions it'll get dry for a long time. It'll get a little bit warm, be 95. It may even hit 98 degrees 1 or 2 days or something. And you may think about spraying a little bit of water on plants or something. But I've never remember, my dad had a garden in our backyard because our house was on a 2-acre lot. The house was on 1 acre in the front on the street. The back acre my dad used mostly for gardening. I don't ever remembering my dad ever have to put water on any of his garden whatsoever. And it grew fantastic. Because it's kind of clayish dirt there. It holds moisture. They get enough rainfall off and on till they don't have to worry about watering bushes or plants or vegetable plants. Here, it's a whole different story. It took me quite a few years to figure that out. You got baritis in your hip? Oh no. Hola, Marcy from California. Marcy, California girl. Glad to be here. I had peaches and biscuits for dinner tonight. So tasty, Linda. Did you really? I love peaches. I love biscuit. And I'll probably eat those peaches and biscuit till they're gone. Linda said, I worked the night shift for 11 years. It messed up my natural sleep habit. And now just sleep a couple of hours at a time and fight to bed at night. And fight bed all night. Huh. Well, I don't know what it was. I worked at the electronics plant in Burgall, North Carolina when I lived back home for a while. And I worked the second shift. So I went to work, what is it, like 3:30 in the afternoon is when I started. And then I worked my 8 hours and got off, which was, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning? I don't even remember. And sometimes I worked overtime. And I told my mom one day, I said, you know what? This second shift messes with your mind. I don't even know what day it is. There was a lot of mornings, because I was staying with her at the time. I said, there was a lot of mornings I just have to look at my mom and say, Mom, what day is it? And she'd look at me like, what? I said, working this shift, I can't keep up with what day it is. I said, I'm working at night. I come home. By the time I go to bed, it's 3 or 4 in the morning. And then I'm sleeping half a day, or trying to. And then I get up to go back at work at 3:30, or be there at 3 or 3:30. I don't remember what time it was actually. I started somewhere around 3:30 in the afternoon, or 4, something like that. But I worked the second shift, and boy, I'll tell you, it'll do a number on you. And then there was a while there that I worked the first shift. And they were training me for everything in the warehouse, or the building. It was built like a big warehouse. I learned how to do all the jobs on the line. I learned how to solder. We built condensers and stuff for TVs, radios, because, you know, all of the radios had condensers and coils and stuff like that. So I made those things. I soldered the ends of the wires and all that kind of stuff where you hooked them up. I run the machines that made the coils that round the wire on the coil itself. I basically did everything in the warehouse, and they were going to make me one of the managers. And I ended up pregnant with my first child. That was Margaret. And I'd already had several miscarriages before that. And the doctor advised me that I needed to take it easy, that I didn't need to be working. So I had to let my job go. Or who knows, I would have been making good money at that electronics plant right now. I may have been one of the top bosses. Who knows? I can't work now. I'm 78 years old. I got a bad neck and back. I can't work on a public job. That's the reason I retired when I did. I said, I'm going to work long enough to pay my car off, and then I'm just retiring. I can't do this anymore. And it's like you say, people are so mean and nasty on jobs now. I don't want to be on a public job. And like I said, that's one reason I went to YouTube. I said I needed a little bit more money coming in every month. And I didn't want a public job. I couldn't hold a job down. I don't want to punch a time clock. So I said, well, if I don't try, I'll never know. And I said, there's other people making a few dollars on YouTube every month. So why can't I? And I said, I'm going to try and see what happens. And you see what happened. I'm here. I'm going on 4 years on YouTube. And I am bringing in a little bit of money every month. I would like to bring in more, but hey, I'm thankful for every penny that comes in from YouTube. Handcrafted Jackie. Good evening, Handcrafted Jackie. Welcome. No, I do not want any public job. And I see these jobs coming up for Goodwill, $17.95 an hour. I thought to myself, oh my God, if I made $17 an hour, I think I died and went to heaven. But I can't hold down that job anymore. My back and neck will not let me do it. So I work in my garden. I do my cooking videos. I do my little bit of crafting, and I need to get a crafting video together sometime soon. I haven't done one of those in a while. So I've been sticking with YouTube, and so far YouTube has been bailing me out. I've not went live on Facebook or TikTok. I know I can at this point, but I can't get monetized yet on Facebook or TikTok. They say I don't have enough followers. I don't remember how many you gotta have, but they say I don't have enough. They say they will let me know on TikTok when I have enough that I can be monetized and make something off of my videos. And Facebook says the same thing. We'll let you know when you're eligible to be monetized. So far, they've not let me know, so I don't know. I post my videos on Facebook because when I post them there, they're linked back to YouTube. So if people watch my videos when they're on Facebook, it goes straight to YouTube and I get credit for it. Yeah, they say, but like I said, I'm not monetized on Facebook or TikTok yet. Or I would be going live. I'm not going to go live if it's not going to bring me any money in. I'd just be wasting my time. I advertise, I post shorts and all kind of stuff, advertising my YouTube channel on TikTok, and it's brought in quite a few people. I do the same on Facebook. Like I say, I post my videos. Everything I post to YouTube, I post on Facebook. And I post on Patreon as well. Just keep posting lives. You're saying I don't need to do videos anymore. I just need to do lives all the time. If I did that, they probably wouldn't want to pay me anything to do a live. When I was doing so many lives before, they were paying me such a little amount to do a live, it wasn't hardly worth going live for. That's what I try to do. And right now, my videos and my lives are not too far off from matching one another. So I go live and I do a video. So far, my videos have been bringing in more money than the lives have. But I don't do a live every day either. So I have thought about trying to go live every day, no matter what time of the day or night it is, and see what happens with that. But then I'd be here just talking with people, chatting with you like we're doing now. I couldn't hold out to do video, like cooking stuff and going live while I'm doing it, and then doing a separate video of a live and of doing that would just wear me completely out. I think my camera just dropped my live and reconnected. You love watching me do my cooking videos, and you like to watch the lives too. Well, I like doing both. And you see, I try not to cut anything out. I figure if I make a boo-boo in my videos, it's just going to be comical. Y'all laugh at you just laugh at it. Yeah, I've got some goggles. They're not swimming goggles. They're work goggles. The clear plastic things, goggles like you can put on your eyes for when you're like running a saw or doing anything you might get spray in your eyes from. I might put those on and cut up my onion one time in a video. I'll see what kind of reaction I get off of that. Well, I've got some people that started watching me on YouTube, but they say they'd rather watch me on Patreon. So I've got people right now that watch me on Patreon, and they're YouTube videos, but they don't come to YouTube to watch them anymore. And I say, well, that's all right. You can watch them either place. I'll get credit for it, whether you watch them on Patreon or YouTube, because they're connected. Well, I've showed me vacuuming before, right after my son got me my new vacuum cleaner. I showed people vacuuming, and I showed them how I was recaulking my bathtub one time. People got a kick out of that. But my bathroom, it's so small, it's hard to get the camera in there to where you can video anything, because I can't hold the camera and do the caulking myself. That's my problem. My brother, I'm thinking he might be going to start him up a cooking channel or something, because that new double-wide 2-story manufactured home he's had moved in on his property where he's getting ready to move to, the way his kitchen's set up, he could get on the other side of his counter like island and set his camera up to where he can see the whole kitchen basically, and see everything on his counter, see his stove, see everything he's doing, and it would be a perfect setup basically to do a cooking video. Where my kitchen is so cramped, I mean, I can put my camera on one side of my table and aim it toward the table and the stove, and I do videos that way sometimes. But I don't have much room in my kitchen. I've got pass-by room around my table, and that's it. If the chairs were pulled out and people were sitting at the table, you couldn't get by them. You couldn't get around the table. That's how small my kitchen is. Because I was hoping one day I could build another room onto it from the front door or the side here and have like a dining area there. Or at least space it out to where it would make this area bigger. I've never been able to do that. I've got the roof extended out in one piece, but I've never been able to do the room. I've had high hopes, I've had dreams that they just haven't panned out. Joshua said it's nice and cool in Arkansas. Well, good for you, Joshua. It's a lot cooler here right now outside than it was earlier, I'll tell you that. I don't know what the temperature is, but I know once the sun goes down, it cools off quite a bit outside. I've even done a video of me vacuuming and cleaning my car out before. Show how I use that new vacuum cleaner my son got me. It's great for vacuuming the trunk out and your carpet and everything. But I said once you see it one time, you don't want to see it every video. That's why I do so many cooking videos. I said, at least I can cook something different each time. I don't have to cook the same thing. And my crafts, I don't have to do the same craft each video. Because I know people get bored watching the same thing all the time. Yeah, if you'll look back in my videos, you'll see me vacuuming with my new vacuum cleaner. That was back close to Christmas one year. The year he gave it to me, I guess it was 2 years ago, 2 Christmases ago. And he gave me a rug shampoo, a carpet shampoo, which works so great. Oh my God, it works so fantastic. I think I even videoed me shampooing the carpet with it. About a year ago, or a little more. Yeah, I've done a video on that, knitting and crocheting too, because I showed people how I was doing the granny squares for my queen size bedspread for my bed. Because I made one for my bed, I've started 2 more, and I've never finished them. So I got the squares out here and was showing people how I changed the colors and how I did all the stitches. But it was hard for me to show people. I'm left-handed, so I crochet with, I hold the needle with this hand. Most people are right-handed, so they hold it with this hand. So I'm showing you backwards. And I couldn't get the camera at just the right angle for you to really see what I was doing. So it's hard for me. If I had somebody to work the camera while I'm doing stuff, it might be a little bit different. You never saw a square biscuit until today. It looks so good. That's how my grandmother did. My grandmother Barnhill. I learned to do that from my grandmother Barnhill, my dad's mom. I call her my country grandma because my other grandma was from New York and lived in New York all her life. Well, until the last couple years of her life, and then she moved in with Mom and Dad in North Carolina. But my country grandma, as I said, my dad came from a family of like 9 children, 9 or 10 children. When my grandma made a pan of biscuit, she took a sheet pan, one of the big sheet pans, and that was her biscuit pan, and she filled it up. And she rolled them with her hand. She would pinch them off, roll them with her hand, and every one of them came out exactly the same size. And she'd put them in that pan and space them just right to where when she mashed them down a little bit and made sure they were all touching and they were all the same height, they were touching one another. So when they started rising, they came out kind of square looking, like mine did. And I started doing that, copying her. Now my mom When she made biscuits, like I said in the video, she cut them with a glass, but it was a little smaller than the glass that I was using. It was more of like a milk glass with a smaller opening. And she cut every one of her biscuits with that glass. I'm sorry, y'all, for coughing. But she'd space them out on the pan where they were barely touching one another. And she didn't kind of push them down like my grandmother did. She just left them. She just put them on there and left them. They'd rise up really tall, but they were not so big around, but they were tall. And that's the way she always made hers. Maybe I'll make a pan and leave them the way she did one time to choke off. But they came out perfectly round and about that tall. And probably about 3 inches in diameter, maybe, or not quite 3 inches, 2.5. They weren't too awfully big, but they weren't real tiny either. So the biscuits that I did the last time with my peaches, that was a mixture of the way I saw my mom do her biscuits, cutting them with the glass, and then of my other grandmother, the way she put hers close together and flattened them out to where they came out almost square. But my grandmother's biscuits would come out big enough that she'd fry an egg, and she'd put that egg on that biscuit with a slice of cheese, and that biscuit was big enough to fit the egg and the cheese in. And she'd fix me 2 of those for lunch every day. She'd fix me 2 of those for lunch when I stayed with her to take to school on the bus. I mean, I only stayed with her a short time. But I love those biscuits. I said they were like McDonald's biscuits today. They taste so much like McDonald's biscuits. It was scary. I say they got my grandma's recipe. And she used homemade lard in her biscuit every time she made a pan of biscuit. She'd open that lard stand lid, dip her hand in, and come up with a handful of lard and put it in that big bowl of flour, mix it all in, make her biscuits, and add that fresh cow's milk in. She made some good biscuits. But I tell you what, she made so many pans of biscuits. She knew exactly how much to pinch off each time so that every one of them came out exactly the same size. When I pinch them off like that, I'll have a little one, a big one, and a little one, and a big one, and a medium one. None of them come out the same. They're off a little bit. They're never exactly the same. My mama made her dumplings too. She'd roll her dough out on the counter, because she had a big counter, a wide counter next to the stove. She'd roll her dough out, and she'd take a knife and she'd cut her dough into strips, and then have strips about that long and about that wide, and kind of thin, about 1/4 of an inch thin. And that's what she put in the chicken to make chicken and dumplings, and it was so good. I know, that was experience. She knew exactly how much of that dough to pinch off. I said, I don't know how many pans of biscuits I've got to make to be able to get mine all exactly the same size, pinching them off like that. I don't think I'll ever be able to do it. You had duck eggs to go with it. Well, my grandparents, they had their own chickens, they had ducks, they had turkeys. And their eggs they cooked came from those chickens and ducks. I don't know if they ever got turkey eggs or not, but they had turkeys. And if my grandmother cooked a turkey, I guarantee you she went in the yard and grabbed one. I couldn't do that. But I guess years of experience, you don't mind doing it after a while. And the chicken's the same way. If she wanted fried chicken for Sunday dinner, She went out in the yard and grabbed a chicken. And I've helped her pluck them many a Sunday. I hated the smell of those feathers when they were dipped in that scalding hot water. Oh, they have a smell to them that, ooh, it's gross. It's awful. Ostrich eggs are unhealthy. I bet the ostrich eggs are so big that it only takes one to fill you up. You can make a heck of an omelet with 2 ostrich eggs. You can make quiche real good with a couple of ostrich eggs. They're so big. Duck eggs had 5 yolks. Wow, I've never known that. I've never seen an egg with that many yolks in it. But yeah, my grandmother had fresh eggs out of those chickens. Fresh chicken from her backyard. Fresh vegetables, fresh collards from the garden. Fresh corn from the fields. Oh, it is. It's just a bad odor of that scalded chicken feathers on that chicken. I'd have to turn my head to help her pick the feathers off because I didn't want to smell it. Or I'd hold my breath. My chat is frozen up here. See if I can get it back up. There it goes. It was just a musty, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. Yeah, you don't forget it, but it's very hard to describe what it smelled like. It was just kind of a musty, icky smell. Because she'd get that pot of scalding hot water and then dip that chicken down in it. And you know it just scalded that chicken because that's what made the feathers come off easy. Yeah, they stunk, Linda. I've eaten squirrel. I don't know if I've ever eaten a rabbit, but I've eaten squirrel before. My mom is, when they'd go get squirrels, my mom would cook them in rice, just like you would chicken. And it was pretty good. Squirrel is good. They just don't have a lot of meat on them. Oh, you don't remove the skin. You pull the feathers off, and you got to scald that chicken with the feathers on him to be able to pull those twills out of his skin. Otherwise, you'd rip the chicken apart trying to get the feathers out. But once you scald that chicken, feathers and all, in that scalding water, those feathers come right out. You can pull them right out. Yeah, my grandmother just pulled the feathers out. She left the skin on the chicken. She always fried the skin on the chicken. But she could make some of the best fried chicken. It was fried in homemade lard. She fried everything. Fish, chicken, everything she fried was in lard. And it gave it the best taste. It was the best chicken. Yeah, it's a lot of feathers to pull. You just grabbed a handful of them at a time and just pulled. That's what I'd say. I said if I had to do that to eat a chicken, I probably never would eat chicken again. Because I don't think I could kill the chicken to begin with. And my grandmother in New York, she would have been the same way. She had to kill a chicken before she could eat one. She'd never eat one because she's not the type of woman that could get out there and grab a chicken and kill him. She was too cityfied for that. But my grandmother in North Carolina, country grandma, that's the way she grew up. They did that from the time she grew up till she was married and had her own family. So going out in the garden, grabbing a chicken by the neck and wringing his neck was nothing to her. That was putting fried chicken on the dinner plate. Yeah, my grandma would wring his neck and then throw him out in the yard, and he would flutter around a while. When he stopped, she'd grab him and most of the time chop his head off at the neck or cut the head off right, by the neck because they'd usually cook the neck. Ava Gabor. Yeah, all the food my grandma ate that lived in New York, I pretty much can tell you came from the grocery store. If she didn't buy it at the grocery store, she probably didn't eat it. Because there was no gardens up where she lived. It was all city, sidewalk, concrete. Now, my aunt and uncle that I stayed with one summer that lived there, they lived in Long Island, and they had a little bit of a backyard. And their neighbor grew a little garden, had tomatoes and different things growing. Not many, but it was just a small backyard garden. Nina says I'm country bumpkin. Yeah, I'm a little bit country myself. Even though I did spend part of my childhood growing up in New York City. We lived up there for a short time. And I sounded just like one of them until we moved back to North Carolina. And then I was teased about sounding like a Yankee. So I got rid of my Yankee accent real fast. But it's funny, I can get back around family from New York and listen to them or talk with them, and sometimes I catch myself starting to sound like them. I start pronouncing my words the way they do, and a little bit of the country's gone. Not much of it, but it's gone a little bit. Red-eye gravy is gravy you make from frying ham or bacon or anything, and I think you put a little bit of coffee in it. Throw a little bit of flour in there to thicken it up. Throw a little bit of coffee in there. From what I told, that's red-eye gravy. I've never made the actual red-eye gravy that you put coffee in, but I have made gravy with after I fried ham or something, ham or bacon or sausage. I've made the gravy. I love the milk gravy you can do with sausage and put it over biscuit. That's a very popular dish here in Texas. Your grandma was 4'11" from. That's the way both of my grandmothers were. Both of my grandmothers were shorter than me, and I'm only 5'2". And I had an aunt. She was real short. She was under 5 foot, way under 5 foot, and her foot was so small. She had to go to the little girls' shoe department to buy her shoes because the lady sizes were too big. They didn't make them small enough. Usually she found the largest size of the girls' shoes and it would fit, or almost the largest, sometimes not the largest, but close to it. Yeah, when I fry chicken, I always make chicken gravy. You can't fry chicken without making a brown gravy to go with your mashed potatoes and fried chicken. I need to fry me some chicken myself. It's been a long time since I've actually fried chicken. Because usually if I get fried chicken, I pick up a quick fried chicken at Walmart that's hot and ready to eat. I might do a video with some fried chicken, but it'll probably be a couple of pieces of chicken. It won't be a whole one. Whereas used to, I'd buy a chicken that was whole, cut it up, put it in the pan, and fry the whole thing in my cast iron pan. And that was so good. That's the way my grandma fried her chicken, in a cast iron skillet. Exactly, Kimberly. Red-eye gravy is coffee in the skillet after you fry the ham and you dip your biscuit in it. Now, I've seen some people just use the drippings in the pan and not add coffee to it and use that over their grits, or even on their biscuit, or dip their biscuit in it. If there was a lot of little, like, bits and pieces of the bacon in the pan. I have a southern drawl like Dolly Parton. I don't know what my southern drawl is like. There's probably not another person alive that sounds like me. Candy Cane said I'm as country as cornbread. Well, I guess I am too. I grew up on collard greens, hot peppers, and cornbread. I don't eat quite as much of it nowadays as I used to, but I grew up on that food. My grandparents always had a big patch of collards in the wintertime. And my dad would come home with armfuls of heads of collards, great big heads of collards. And you knew you were having collards for supper. Yeah, you can add a little water instead of the coffee. I've never tried it with the coffee. I need to try that. I don't think I've ever put coffee in my gravy of any kind. Linda, what roux you making tomorrow? Anything good? I don't know. I haven't decided. I got to get over there and finish my video so I can get it uploaded tonight, so it'll be ready to post in the morning. I got 66 people watching right now, y'all. Is that some kind of record? A comeback record? I used to have a bunch that come in lives, and then I quit having the lives. And I guess I got to build up my people again. I don't care for collard, but I sure like poke greens. Well, a lot of times, if we didn't have enough collards to cook by themselves and eat them, that we'd mix in collard greens, cabbage greens, mustard greens, turnip greens, and just make a green salad out of it and cook it. And that was good too. And sometimes my mom or my aunts or my grandma would make cornbread dumplings to go in the liquid that you take the collards out of. And I've done it too. I just don't do it as much now as I used to. I don't eat that much cornbread dumplings anymore. You're showing 68. I got 71. I show 71 right now. It jumped up to 71. And it jumped. I said that and it dropped back to 67. I can't see who came in. I just know the number of people watching rose all of a sudden. Well, we've been on here for 2 hours and 19 minutes. I got to get off of here because I got to finish my video. If I don't, I'll never get it posted in the morning. Yeah, y'all might like the video I'm going to post in the morning if I ever get it finished. The kitchen's cooled off, so I know what I was waiting for it to cool off is cooled off. Well, y'all, thank you so much for coming into my live tonight, even though I didn't get it scheduled. Like I said, just look for me to go live any night because I can't schedule it. I don't know when I'll be able to go live. I don't want to schedule it and then not show up. So just be aware. You might see a pop-up anytime that I'm going live. I'll try to give you a little bit of warning like I did tonight, but sometimes there'll be no warning at all. I'll just be live. So if you can pop in, pop in. If not, I understand. But I love each and every one of you for coming in tonight. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have. And I'll see you on the next one. Love y'all. Bye now.